Hi, this is Ed Amoroso. I want to welcome you to Tag Talk. Today, I want to talk about a very iconic firm called Broadcom. It kind of lives in two dimensions. They're a hardware company doing semiconductor, and that's really driven the stock price. I mean, with AI and other things, amazing sort of progression the last few years as a company. But then the other piece is software, and cybersecurity is a big piece of that. And I want to talk primarily about the software and cybersecurity portion of Broadcom. So again, I just want to remind you that, on the semiconductor side, this is an amazing company, and I think that's really what drives their value. But in software, it's been a little bit less certain. They made three major acquisitions that I've sort of tracked. CA, which a lot of you remember from maybe the mainframe era, and I don't say that in a pejorative sense. I know they were obviously an important company, but now they certainly a little bit less present in cybersecurity and other areas. And then Symantec was another acquisition, certainly an iconic brand and an iconic contributor to cybersecurity, certainly playing a different role now. And then VMware, which included Carbon Black. And I think we all have our opinions about, how Carbon Black may or may not be still a player in a market dominated by CrowdStrike, SentinelOne, and Microsoft. VMware being this iconic firm that's been a primary player in data center operations, which I guess if you separate, say, the hyperscalers, it's not entirely clear whether businesses are going to continue building data centers, so they have some unclear future. So look, here's my belief here. I think anybody watching what I'm saying here that's in the cybersecurity industry is going to ask me to be honest here, and I'm going to be. I mean, Broadcom, for the most part, has not been successful in the cybersecurity portion of their business. CA is largely non-present. Symantec is nowhere near what they used to be. And the VMware portion that focuses on cybersecurity seems to be melting away, at least in terms of what I see. Now, look, I'm sure the company would disagree, and I know they've got a big installed base, but I'm not talking about their installed base. I'm talking about where they're going. We do a lot of inbound sort of interactions here at TAG where we talk to practitioners about what they're planning for and doing. We almost never hear about this company. It's always on the way out as opposed to the way in. So we have some suggestions here that I'm going to make, and you'll be able to read about this in a report that we posted about Broadcom that I hope you'll read and try to provide a very honest, unbiased view of a company that, again, we view as iconic, successful, amazing semiconductor company, great hardware company, not so much in cyber. So let's talk about this. So first off, I think when you combine somewhat aging software firms together and expect it to get better, that's not a good idea. Usually when you do that, you end up with something that is very an unusual or maybe forced combination of different technologies. So we've seen that here, and I'm not really sure where it's gone, but I can tell you that it is not something that we see in a lot of inbounds. The second is that when hardware companies try to do software, a lot of times they fumble. Remember when Intel bought McAfee? And that didn't work out too well. And I think there's a lot of parallels here with Broadcom buying Symantec, Intel buying McAfee. What's the difference? I don't see the play here. And if you do, then tell me, write in the comments. Tell me where I've got this wrong. The third is my suggestion. I think that Broadcom would be wise to spin this security and maybe the whole software business off into a separate subsidiary. I don't see the synergy. I don't understand it. They seem like separate operating units. And I think companies like Carbon Black, which I always viewed as an amazing company with a lot of great ideas, certainly Symantec as well, I think I see them sort of stifled under this Broadcom umbrella that we all associate with semiconductors. So I'm just giving you my impression here. I've been doing this for 4 decades, and I've watched all these firms, and I think it would be disingenuous for me to suggest anything other than these security brands, I believe, would be better off outside the umbrella of a semiconductor company. So I hope they do that. Who knows if they'll listen to me, but I can tell you, I don't know much about semiconductors, but I know quite a bit about cybersecurity, and I think it would be a wise move. So again, I hope you'll download the report. I hope you'll like the video, put some comments in. Really like to hear what you think about Broadcom, particularly on the software and cybersecurity side. So I look forward to hearing from you.